Hello Pojo, one who said malicious on the next episode of The Hunting Ground. Today we're going to be talking about the spells and trap cards you can normally see in most Harpie decks, Harpie Lady decks. And we're going to start off right off the bat with 4 of the themed spell cards from the archetype. The 2 oldest ones are Hunting Ground and Elegant Egotist. Elegant Egotist being the very first Harpie spell card available. It would actually made its debut in Metal Raiders, followed then by Hunting Ground on the Rise of Destiny structure deck. But then came along Hysteric Sign, which came along in the booster of pack Lord of Attacking Galaxy, and finally Phoenix Formation, Harpie Lady Phoenix Formation on the Legendary Collection. So first off, let's start with Elegant Egotist. Elegant Egotist basically requires a face-up Harpie Lady on the field, so you can special summon a Harpie Lady card from your deck. Now the thing is, something I forgot to mention about in the first video was the fact that Harpie Ladies, there's a special rule with Harpie Ladies, so that you could be able to play Harpie Dancer and Harpie Channeler and Harpie Queen. There's a reason why Harpie Dancer, Harpie Channeler, and Harpie Queen say they're only treated as Harpie Lady while face up on the field or the graveyard. Now that reason being is because let's say they will be able to be treated as Harpie Ladies in all sides of the game. That includes the deck and the banish zone. If that was possible, then you would only be able to play 3 Harpie Ladies in total in your entire deck. Whether it is 1 Harpie Channeler, 1 Harpie Queen, 1 Harpie Dancer, and then you wouldn't be able to play Harpie Lady 1 or Harpie Lady 2 or Harpie Lady 3, or you will only be able to play, for example, 3 Harpie Lady 1s, and you wouldn't be able to play Harpie Channeler, Harpie Dancer, or Harpie Queen. The reason being because if a card's name is treated as something in the entire game, whether it is in the field, in the graveyard, in the banish zone, in the deck, then that card counts towards the 3 limit, towards the 3 card limit you can put in your deck. So, for example, Harpie Lady 1, it's treated as a Harpie Lady card in all places of the game. So you can run 3 Harpie Lady 1s, but then you cannot run 3 Harpie Lady Vanilla or 3 Harpie Lady 2 or 3 Harpie Lady 3. You can run 3 Cyber Harpie Lady, but you cannot run then Harpie Lady 1. So basically, the first 5 Harpies that I discussed in the last video are the only Harpies that have that restriction. So among those 5 Harpies, you have to choose 3 of them, or play 3 of 1, and go on with it. And then you can play 3 Harpie Channeler, 3 Harpie Dancer, 3 Harpie Queen, so on. So basically, Elegant Egotist will summon a card named Harpie Lady from your deck. So that includes Harpie Lady Vanilla, Harpie Lady 1, Harpie Lady 2, Harpie Lady 3, and of course Cyber Harpie Lady. Those are the 5 targets for Elegant Egotist. But remember, you can only run 3 of whatever Harpie you chose as your target. Then we go to Harpie's Hunting Ground. Pretty much our field spell, our famous field spell. And the thing is that Harpie's Hunting Ground's effect is very simple. When a Harpie Lady or a Harpie Lady Sisters is special summoned, you can target 1 spell or trap card on the field and you can destroy it. Very simple effect. Now the thing is that the effect is mandatory. There's no you can clause. So it has to be activated, even if that means you have to destroy your own spell trap cards. So if Hunting Ground is the only card on the field when the effects activates, it has to destroy itself. So be very careful when you're using this card, because it might backfire on you. Then we go to Hysteric Sign. This is the card that made its debut in Lord of Attacking Galaxy, and Hysteric Sign pretty much is a searcher for our spell card Elegant Egotist, or Egotista Elegante in Spanish. And basically it has, aside from that effect, it also has a second effect, which is very important in our strategy, which is at the end phase of the card at the end phase of the turn that this card was sent from the hand or the field to the graveyard, you can search your deck for up to 3 Harpie cards with different names and put into your hand. Okay? Just remember, it has to be different names. It can't be the same one. But yeah, definitely a very powerful effect for our deck. being able to search for 3 different cards and put them into our hand is definitely a pretty good effect, and we have to aim for when playing this deck. And finally, Harpie Lady Phoenix Formation, or Formación Fénix de la Lamartilla. And definitely this card requires 3 Harpie cards, 3 Harpie Ladies or Harpie Lady Sisters to be able to activate. And basically it destroys monsters on the field equal to the number of Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters you have on your side of the field. Then it will inflict pretty much like burn damage equal to the original attack of the highest, basically the highest original attack among the monsters you destroyed with this effect. Now the thing is, it has 2 restrictions. The first restriction is you can't conduct your battle phase the turn you activated this effect, and you cannot activate this card if you already did your battle phase this turn. And then the second restriction is you cannot activate this card if you already special summoned from your extra deck or main deck, and you cannot special summon this, monsters from your extra deck or main deck the turn you activate this card. So pretty much those 2 restrictions are very important to take note of when you're using this card. Not many players use this, but those that do use at least 1 copy, and they usually not use it just for the effect. They also use it to discard it with Harpie Channeler if they ever need like Harpie Channeler Father or stuff like that. Then finally we got Triangle Ecstasy Spark, which is a card themed on the Harpie Lady Sisters. Pretty much makes all Harpie Lady Sisters 2,700 attack. And then spell trap cards cannot be activated during the turn this card is activated, and then you can negate the effect of every trap card your opponent controls until the end of the turn. Or I think it's forever. Sorry, my bad. It's actually forever. Alright, so let's move on to the trap cards. There's actually 2 themed trap cards for the support right now. There are Mirror Wall and Hysteric Party. Sorry about that. Fiesta Hysterica. And basically, the most important one is Fiesta Hysterica, or Hysteric Party, because it's the one that enables us to win games by simply just going off. Hysteric Party discards a card from your hand as a cost, and then you can special summon all Harpie Lady cards or Harpie Lady Sisters from your graveyard onto the field. So basically it's a 1-card swarm. It summons a bunch of Harpie Ladies. And then of course Mirror Wall, for those My Valentine enthusiasts, is a famous card in her deck, and she tied it in with the Harpie Lady theme a lot, in the sense that it made monsters that were very powerful for Harpie Ladies to overcome, made them really weak by cutting their attack in half. And pretty much that's what Mirror Wall does. When you activate it, it pretty much cuts in half the attack of all attacking monsters, and it requires a cost of 2,000 life points per standby phase to pretty much keep on the field. But you know what, if you're a My Valentine enthusiast, feel free to use this card. I personally don't use it, but I mean, if you want to use it, go ahead. Then that's it for the Harpie spell trap card support, but let's move on to some cards that you can commonly see in other Harpie decks. Alright, first off is Infernal Reckless Summon. This card has been used in Harpie decks for a very long time, and the reason being because Harpie Ladies are one of the few decks that can actually use this card very effectively. The thing is that this card, when activated, will summon all copies of 1 card on both sides of the field, pretty much 1 copy of your card and 1 copy of your opponent's card, whether it is from the deck, the hand, or the graveyard, onto the field. Pretty much like, similar to like a Hysteric Party. Pretty much summons all monsters. The thing is that your opponent also gets to choose a monster of their own, and they summon all their copies. But pretty much this card was used because it was pretty much like a second Hysteric Party, and it was also, thanks to being a spell card, it could actually be used in your turn. And not only that, it's a quick play, so it was used in response to something. Now the thing is, the trick is on getting Harpies that can trigger Infernal Reckless Summon. You know, you have, for example, normally people use targets like Harpie Lady 3, or Harpie Lady Vanilla, or Harpie Lady 2, which I have over here. 1 second. Yeah. Harpie Lady 2. Usually these are the most common Infernal Reckless Summon targets, and the reason being is because if Harpie's Hunting Ground is on the field when Infernal Reckless Summon is activated, obviously you have to take into effect that Hunting Ground is boosting your Harpies by 200 points. So if you wanted to do Infernal Reckless Summon with Harpie Channeler and you have Hunting Ground on the field, you cannot do Infernal Reckless Summon, because Harpie Channeler will be plus boosted to 1,600 with the field spell. Now if you take, for example, Harpie Lady 2 and you special summon her, and with the field spell 1,300 plus 200 is 1,500, that meets the requirements for Infernal Reckless Summon, and you can use the card. But a great target for Harpie Ladies that doesn't have to be basically any of these three is actually Harpie Dancer. And the great thing about Harpie Dancer is that her attack is actually 1,200, so not only will she evade Bottomless, but she will also evade being too powerful for Infernal Reckless Summon. And basically she would come in the field with 1,400 attack thanks to Hunting Ground, and you can still use Infernal Reckless Summon. Alright. Next up is Lightning Vortex. This card is actually a tech card in some Harpie decks. You might see one here or another. Not everybody runs this, but the great thing about Lightning Vortex is the synergy it has with cards like Hysteric Sign or even the Harpies themselves. You discard a Harpie, you set up your Hysteric Party, and you blow up all your opponent's monsters on the field, or you discard a Hysteric Sign and you get to search for 3 cards from your deck and add them to your hand, and not only that, you destroy all your opponent's monsters. I like using Lightning Vortex in decks that use Infernal Reckless Summon, because obviously you want a way to clear the board from your opponent's monsters that just got summoned. So your opponent summons a bunch of monsters, you clear them up with Lightning Vortex, and then the Harpies are free to do whatever they want to do on your opponent's side of the field. Then you got Pot of Duality, another very important card in this deck. I personally like running this card because it pretty much gets to your Hysteric Signs much faster. It's a way of getting your Hysteric Signs really fast, and pretty much the faster you have Hysteric Sign, the faster you are and the closer you are to winning your games. And that is pretty much almost fact. Then you got Terraforming. I usually use Terraforming in Harpie decks that use more than one field spell, for example like Divine Wind of Mist Valley that we're going to talk about in just a minute. And it's pretty much to search any field spell that I need at the moment. If sometimes you have Harpie Queen, but you have very little other monsters in your hand, and you don't want to lose many monsters, so you rather use like Terraforming instead of Harpie Queen's effect to search for a Hunting Ground. Or if you have like Harpie Dancer and you want to go off with Divine Wind of Mist Valley, well then Terraforming is a great card to search for it, and then you have your combo much faster. Then you get Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Now this thing with Harpie Dancer took the deck to a whole new level, and the thing is that it really much it gave the deck a whole new perspective. And honestly, to be I'm gonna be very honest, it's a bit too complicated to put it in this single video, but I will be dedicating one entire video just for Divine Wind of Mist Valley and its interaction with Harpies. But pretty much the great thing about Divine Wind of Mist Valley is that when a wind monster is sent from the field to your hand, you can special summon any wind monster level 4 or lower from your deck onto the field. So, for example, if you use effects like Mist Valley Falcon, or you use effects like Harpie Dancer, which I have it over here. For example, if you use effects like those from Mist Valley Falcon or Harpie Dancer, you can enable Divine Wind of Mist Valley and search for any wind monster level 4 or lower in your deck. Now that obviously translates into any Harpie you want, or including cards like, for example, Delta Flyer or Mist Valley Soldier. Okay, it's pretty much a very epic card, and it provides a ton of field presence. Now the thing is, like I said, it's a little bit too complicated for summing it up in this video alone, so I'm going to be dedicating one entire video just for Divine Wind of Mist Valley, so you can possibly even learn how to make your own Divine Wind Harpie deck. Then we got Swallow's Nest. This is a very interesting card because it's pretty much like Transmodify for Harpies. You tribute a Wing Beast monster and you special summon one Wing Beast monster with the same level as that Wing Beast monster you tributed from your deck onto the field. And pretty much like, for example, if you summon Harpie Challenger and it's about to get bottomless, well, you use Swallow's Nest and you tribute that one and you summon the other one. Or it's about to get Dimensional Prison, you Swallow's Nest and you summon another one. And if you have Hunting Ground on the field, you can destroy one other spell or trap card. Stuff like that. Like if it's about to get Phoenix Shane, well, you get Swallow's Nest and you tribute it and you summon another one. Stuff like that. It's a very cool card to evade back row. And not only that, it also sets up stuff. I've seen decks that use Harpie Challenger's ability to turn level 7 and use Swallow's Nest to summon stuff like Dark Simorg. You know, for example, you know, they use this to summon Dark Simorg because obviously Harpie Challenger, when there's a dragon on the field, turns level 7, so you use Swallow's Nest on Harpie Challenger and you summon a Dark Simorg from your deck. I've seen that happen. It's not that common, but it's very possible, and you can do it on your own if you want. But you know, there's a really lot of cool plays you can do. Now, mainly, I personally use Swallow's Nest on a deck that focuses on Infernal Reckless Summon, because if I have, for example, a Harpie Queen, and I have an Infernal Reckless Summon on hand, and I want a way to trigger it, then I would be like Harpie Queen, summon Swallow's Nest, go into Harpie Dancer. Harpie Dancer is 1200. It's treated as Harpie Lady on the field, so I use Infernal Reckless Summon and I summon all Harpie Ladies onto the field, including the Harpie Queen that I tributed with Swallow's Nest. So definitely, it's a very, very cool card, a very cool Infernal Reckless Summon enabler. Let's go on. That's all for spells, so let's go on to the traps. Some generic traps, definitely Icarus Attack and Spiritual Wind Art Miyabi. These two work the same way. They tribute a monster and they do an effect. Icarus Attack basically tributes a Wing Beast monster and you destroy 2 cards. This card was made very famous by Black Wings, but actually, little tribute, it was actually used by Harpies first. And then Spiritual Wind Art Miyabi, it's pretty much the same thing as Icarus Attack, except you tribute a wind monster, and instead of destroying 2 cards, you send 1 card in your opponent's side of the field to the bottom of their deck. And then pretty much you can use it, for example, if you have a Lightning Chidori and it has no materials and it's about to get destroyed, you can use Spiritual Wind Art Miyabi, tribute the Lightning Chidori, send a monster there that's attacking you, or a card, very important card, in your opponent's side of the field and send it to the bottom of the deck. And the same thing goes with Icarus Attack. If you have a Harpie Lady that's about to get destroyed, you use Icarus Attack and you blow up 2 cards, whether it is back row, monsters, whatever you want. But pretty much both cards work in the same principle. They tribute a monster on your side of the field. Then we got Phoenix Wing Blast, or Golpe de Viento de Fénix. And pretty much the art behind this card is that you use it as a discard outlet for cards like Hysteric Sign or your Harpies. Pretty much that fuels the grave for Hysteric Party, and it enables cards like Hysteric Sign to search for cards. Plus, it bounces cards on your opponent's side of the field. It can even potentially set up your opponent back a turn. You know, if you bounce, like for example, a monster, they don't want to draw again, you put them on the top of the deck, they're back a turn, and you can then play on your own speed, on your own terms. But definitely it's a very solid card. I personally use one as a tech, and I really don't plan to take it out anytime soon. It's very, very good, and it's just like it has a lot of synergy with Harpies. You know, with the fact that it fuels the graveyard for Hysteric Party, and it fuels and it enables Hysteric Sign from the hand. And then finally we got Magical Hats. Now, Magical Hats, it's a very interesting card because personally, I mean, if you've been in the Pojo for a long while, we made a lot of fun from this card. Like there was this one guy that was always saying Magical Hats was the amazing card, was the best card ever, you guys should try it, and nobody wanted to listen to him. Everybody was like, you're funny, it doesn't make any sense, who would use that card, blah blah blah. And then, last thing you know, one guy goes to an ARG circuit series, he starts using magical hats and uses it as 3, and he actually made pretty decent. And then, you know, next thing you know, everybody started using magical hats, and now, you know, everybody's with this card. Like, they think it's like a staple for Harpies. Well, I personally, I'm still on the fence, but I started using one, and I might be using 2. But definitely the thing behind magical hats is it's very simple. It searches hysteric sign from your deck, and it thins the deck by a lot. So basically, the way you use magical hats is when you're in your opponent's battle phase, if a monster you control is getting attacked, you're gonna flip magical hats and you're gonna search for a hysteric sign and another spell or trap card in your deck. Possibly, you know, best targets are usually Elegant Egotist and a hysteric sign. And then basically you put them, you pretty much put them, you search for Elegant Egotist, and then you take a hysteric sign somewhere around here. 1 second, switching around this pile of cards. Okay, I kind of lost it. Oh, there we go. Hysteric sign. So yeah, you search for these 2 cards, and along with your monster, let's say it's a Harpie Lady 2, right? And you take these 3 cards, you put them face down, you shuffle them, blah 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 blah. Ignore the green card. You shuffle them, blah blah blah, and you put them in defense mode in your side of the field, right? They're like that, and then your opponent then has to attack those 3 cards. Well, not necessarily, but if they want to like get through you, they have to attack through all those 3 cards. And at the end of the battle phase, the cards that you took from the deck and placed them on the field are destroyed, and your monster, if it survived, if it survives, you reveal it and it stays on the field. And then basically the thing is that since it destroyed Hysteric Sign and sent it to the graveyard, you get to activate Hysteric Sign's effect, which is search the 3 Harpie cards. So definitely you not only, you know, Magical Hats has a potential of thinning your deck by 5 cards. You know, and pretty much the 2 cards that you got from your deck, and then the 3 more cards you're gonna get with Hysteric Sign, Hysteric Sign's effect. And not only that, possibly even saving your monster while you're at it. So definitely, yeah, Magical Hats is a very fun card to use, and it surprisingly has a lot of synergy with this deck. So if you want to try it out yourself, go ahead. I actually run 1 copy, which is a super rare one, but I might be possibly adding this common one into the deck as well, because I have to admit it's a good card. I was on the fence, and I'm still on the fence, but I have to respect the power of Magical Hats. It's a very cool card. So with that said, that's it for the spells and traps. Once again, I hope that this video helped you in any way in building your Harpie deck, but please stay tuned for additional videos, as we're gonna be discussing like the actual gameplay behind the Harpie Ladies, like what you expect to be doing, like turn by turn, like how is your early game gonna look like, how is your mid game gonna look like, how is your late game gonna look like, and stuff like that, and pretty much like pretty much how the deck behaves in general in the game. And then hopefully we might be even going through specific matchups. We might be discussing, for example, a Dragon Ruler matchup or a Blackwing matchup or stuff like that, so you guys can see how this deck interacts with the other cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! So definitely that's all for now. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Hunting Ground. And to now, this has been One Set Malicious with another episode of the Hunting Ground. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Laters.